Hi everyone, Michael here, vegan space scientist. Welcome to the video. This week we're going to be doing something a little bit different. My last few videos have been maybe a little bit of a darker theme. We had, would it be good or bad if humanity went extinct? We've had, is it ethical to have children? So I just wanted to have a little bit of fun this week, do something hopefully a little bit more lighthearted. It's a bit of a philosophy meme review. So we're going to be looking at some trolley problem memes. If you don't know what a trolley problem meme is, I'm going to first explain what a trolley problem is. It's a philosophical thought experiment in ethics. And then we're going to go over some memes from the trolley problem memes page and hopefully have a bit of fun. This video, I don't know if it's going to be a little bit niche, maybe, if people might not be so interested in it, if they're not interested in philosophical thought experiments or trolley problems and memes and so on. But let's give it a go and let me know what you think. Of course, comments, likes, dislikes, and all that. Let's get into it. If you already know what a trolley problem is, then just go to this time here. But just by way of introduction, trolley problem is, imagine you are this person that we see here on the screen. There is a trolley or a tram that is going along a track and it's going to run over 5 people if you don't do anything. Now you come here and you see this and you observe 5 people tied to one track and 1 person tied to the other track. And you can pull a lever which diverts the trolley from going to run over 5 people, diverts it onto another track with 1 person tied to it. You might say, why are these people tied here? What's the context? Can I just untie them? No, thought experiment, you can't. So the question really just becomes quite simple of, would you rather save 5 lives or 1 life? Now, it's a little bit more complicated, some people would say, because if you pull the lever, then someone might argue that you're morally complicit in killing that 1 person. So you should not pull the lever. Someone might say that it's pretty clear. If you're just thinking about how to maximize the number of lives saved, any inaction can be as bad as an action, ethically speaking, and so you should definitely pull the lever and divert it to the track with 1 person on it. Some people, take this a little bit further and say, well, are these people vegans or not vegans? Are they good people in their lives or not good people? But it's a thought experiment. You can think about it however you want, but from the very simplistic view of 5 lives versus 1 life saved, I would choose as a utilitarian to divert it to the track with 1 person. Now, this is the original trolley problem. There are a number of variations on this. For example, this is a variation where it becomes a little bit more personal. So rather than pulling a lever and diverting the track, now, okay, what if you have to push someone onto the tracks in order for the train to hit them, which would kill them, but then stop running? And so there's a lot of complex kind of variations of a trolley problem. They're designed to try and tease out someone's underlying philosophical framework. So people have done a number of variations on this. This one, maybe not so much a meme, but I think a good way of thinking about it is you shouldn't be thinking about it necessarily as you are the person pulling the lever. You should be thinking about, what if you're behind the veil of ignorance, which is you don't know who you're going to be in the situation, and that is how you should act. Even though you know who you would be in the situation, you should act as if you don't know. So what if you're one of the 5 people tied down to the track? And people use this as an argument for how we ought to live ethically, saying you should act as if you're behind the veil of ignorance and you don't know whether you're going to be, say, an animal in a factory farm, and how should you act therefore? Okay, so we've introduced the concept of a trolley problem. So let's do a bit of a meme review. We're going to be rating these trolley problem memes out of 10. So all right, let's get into it. The first one. I like this one. It's a take on that meme where the person's bay is like, come over, my parents aren't home. So this person is standing at a trolley problem with the tracks, and he's on the phone and they say, bay, come over. I can't, I'm experiencing an ethical dilemma. My entire family isn't home. I know, and their family is like tied to the tracks. So yeah, I rate this one a 9 out of 10. It's pretty good. Yeah, good combination of 2 different memes there. We're going to be going through some trolley problem memes from this Facebook page, trolley problem memes. So shout out to them and to the people who submit the memes to their page. Okay, I hadn't seen this one before. This was from a few months ago, and I think it's a take on like having to socially isolate. So they're gonna have to pull the lever, or are they gonna have to go outside to pull the lever? I don't know, but all right, relevant. So I'll give that a 6. I don't know. It didn't really catch me too much. Okay, this is a little bit more of a complicated one. So the trolley's coming to, there's 3 tracks. It's coming to like a track with, what's that, 20 people tied to it. On the other one, there's 4 people tied to it. And so on the side of the trolley is like food and water for the 4 people tied to the track. So if you pull the lever and divert the trolley to the left, everyone dies of starvation and thirst. If you don't, 1 person in every 6 is fed and the remaining die under the wheels of the train. So it looks like it's a choice between everyone dying slowly or 20 people dying quickly and 4 people living. I mean, do the 4 people lying there die eventually anyway? What would I do in this one? I'd probably not pull the lever, all else being equal. This one made me think. It wasn't too funny. It was like a good good thought experiment. So I'll give it a 7, not for the last, but for the intellectual content. Okay, so on this one we've got 5 people tied to one track where the trolley is going, and the other one there's no one there. Person says, I'd pull the lever if supporters of pulling the lever hadn't been so toxic to me. Okay. This, I feel like this kind of comes up in the animal rights context quite a bit. People were like, oh, I'd go vegan if there weren't, vegans were such assholes. Like, I mean, one, how many vegans does that person really know? Probably not many, but like, it shouldn't matter if someone is an asshole to you. That shouldn't affect it. So yeah, I like this one. Obviously, people supporters of pulling the lever being toxic shouldn't change your mind on whether you should pull the lever or not. So we'll give that an 8.5. All right, so looks pretty standard. 5 people tied to one tied to the other, but one of the people out of the 5 is a deontologist. They're scheduled to be at the lever in another trolley problem occurring in a few days. Do you pull the lever? First of all, who is setting up all these trolleys and tying these people to tracks? Okay, so if we don't pull the lever, it's going to run over the 5, but it's going to stop the deontologist from being at that other trolley problem occurring in a few days. I mean, the deontologist might not pull the lever, but if there's no one there at the trolley problem, then is anyone going to be able to pull the lever? Do we assume that they're replaced with a utilitarian? I'm going to have to say still pull the lever on this one, actually. All right, not bad. We'll give that a 6.5. All right, this looks like a bit of a complex one. Innocent murder trolley problem. Though you could have easily pulled the lever to divert the first trolley onto the empty track, so it's on one track and 0 people on the other track, you allow the first one to crush the man to death. So that's a given, I guess. Okay, and then as it does, you notice another trolley on the way. If you allow it to hit him too, will you be less morally blameworthy for the man's death? After all, the second trolley will only hit a man who was already dead, which is far less morally wrong than murder, sure. And if the second trolley hits him, then the first trolley only deprived him of a few seconds of life, which is also morally wrong. I mean, it seems irrelevant. It sort of feels like they're sort of playing like word games here. I'm gonna have to say, I mean, if you take it for granted that the first trolley is hitting the person, then I'm gonna have to say that it wouldn't make a difference whether the second trolley hits them or not. We'll give this a 6 out of 10. All right, just one track, a lot of people on it, and you can stop the trolley at any time, but doing so would disrupt the trolley service, causing the company to lose profits. Yeah, I don't think I need to say what I would do here unless the situation is more complicated than it sounds. I'd stop the trolley unless they're going to do something with those profits that leads to more lives saved or reduction of suffering or something. I mean, this is a pretty common tension between like profit versus well-being of people. So yeah, pretty topical. We'll give that 8 out of 10 for insight. We all need to do our part to flatten the curve, so please, when tying victims to the tracks, remember to space them at least 6 feet apart. Yes, very important, because if they survive, then we don't want them to get coronavirus. Topical, give it an 8 out of 10. The new trolley problem. There is a runaway trolley bearing down a track. You are on the track. Do you get out of the way? That's it. That's the problem. Well, it looks like they're having a pretty good time there. If they get out of the way, do they stop having such a good time? I don't know. That's a hard one. We'll give that 9. That made me laugh. Okay, this is the transhumanist trolley problem. On the tracks, there are different teams of researchers. Track A contains researchers on the brink of discovering the secret to super longevity. The same goes for track B and C, but for super well-being and super intelligence, respectively. Where do you send the trolley? If I pull it on track A, contains researchers on the brink of discovering the secret to super longevity. So there's one researcher, and if I pull it to go to B, then I kill one researcher but stop them from getting super longevity. Okay, and then super well-being and super intelligence. This is a good one. Oh, okay. Well, I think in the grand scheme of things, you have to say that like the number of people should be pretty irrelevant. Like the impact of longevity and super well-being and super intelligence should vastly outweigh like the impact of what is that? 9 people on the. It's 1, 5, and 9 people on the different tracks. So we're going to say that, like, in the grand scheme of things, that's not that big a number. So I'm making a choice between what do I want to not have out of these: super longevity, super well-being, and super intelligence. Oh gosh, that's actually hard. I think super well-being is a given for keeping, so it's a choice between do I get rid of the super intelligence or the super longevity. It's hard to say. Longevity is attractive to me for selfish reasons, so I can't pick that, like, just for that reason. Man, that's actually really hard. Gosh, I'm pretty undecided. I don't know. I maybe want to say it depends. Like, super intelligence, it can be a double-edged sword. Intelligence isn't intrinsically good in and of itself. That's not necessarily going to lead humanity to a better outcome. It could lead humanity to a worse outcome faster. I think I'd have to say get rid of the super intelligence one. But then again, longevity, it's also not that clear to me that that's net good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually going to say I can't choose between sending it to track C and A. Stuck between track C and A. Anyway, yeah, that was a good one. Made me think. 9 out of 10. Okay, so me, the leader of my country, is at the top with the lover. In the trolley is a year worth of tourists from COVID-19 stricken countries heading for your lovely capital. The bottom track has 5% oldest population of your country with weak immune system. Lever redirects tourist trolleys, this one and every single one after it, back to its country of origin. The top track has a bag with a percentage of your GDP equal to a year of your country's tourism revenue. Will you pull the lever? So we're choosing between the tourist revenue or the lives of our 5% oldest population. Pretty sure I would choose to divert the trolley on to running over the tourism money. People make a case that the economic impacts not being considered enough in terms of COVID-19 strategies, and I'm open to that. But even having said that, I still think that the negative effects of the economic damage are being overstated by those proponents, especially because it's not looking really at the counterfactual. Because if we just let the tourists in, if we didn't take these measures, then there would be an economic impact anyway. And so it's not really a strict one-to-one choice between the two. But anyway, in this case, I would, divert the lever. So, all right, good. Maybe think 8.5 out of 10. You make it to your intended destination at the intended time. Do you thank the trolley driver as you leave, even though it's his job? I do this all the time. I thank the bus driver. I thank, taxi drivers. I mean, why not? I know it's their job, but you still thank them. I don't see why you wouldn't. Oh, I forgot to rate this one. I don't know. It's a little bit different. We'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. The Simone Weil trolley problem. Not pulling the lever will result in the immediate deaths of 5 people. Pulling the lever will result in the destruction of a barn that contains an entire village's supply of food, which will put 100 people at a greater than 5% risk of each starving to death. Which will put 100 people at a greater than 5% risk each of starving to death. Is it a crime to claim that pulling the lever will not kill anyone? Is it a greater crime to print this opinion in a widely circulated newspaper? Maybe, I don't know, this is like referring to a real op-ed, opinion piece. I haven't seen it or I'm not aware of it. But let's think about this. So, okay, 5 people versus 100 people at greater than 5% risk each. So, well, that's 5 people still. So, but greater than 5% risk. Well, if it's greater than 5% risk, then the net effect would be more than 5 people on expectation starving to death. So, yeah, I guess I wouldn't pull the lever in this case, but it becomes even more complicated when you say that the starving to death would be a long and slow death, presumably, than in comparison with a trolley death. So, yeah, I think I definitely wouldn't pull the lever in this case. But I'm curious to know what situation they're referring to with the opinion piece. I keep forgetting to rate these, but I think, I'll give this it's not bad. I'll give it a 7.5, only because I don't understand the context. Sorry. All right, we'll make this one the last one. So, artificial intelligence trolley problem. You've been replaced by a fully sentient robot which you have designed. Would you still be held morally responsible for the outcome of the situation? So, standard trolley problem, 1 in 5. You designed this sentient robot, so presumably you've had some major control over, major influence over its ethics. So yeah, I'd say you still would be held morally responsible for the outcome of the situation. But it's fully sentient. Well, that depends on whether you think there's any concept of free will. If they did have some kind of free will, maybe you can't control that. It's like, is a parent fully responsible for the actions of their child or just partially responsible? I'd say generally speaking, yeah. I mean, if you designed it to be a deontologist robot, then yes, you should be responsible for that. And same with a utilitarian robot. So, all right, that's a good one. Yeah, we'll give that a 7.5. Okay, so we'll leave it there, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. This is something a little bit different just to kind of mix things up because I've had a few darker themed videos recently. So if you enjoyed this and you want to see more videos like this specifically, then let me know and I'm happy to do that. Or if you want me to just go back to the other more serious stuff, then happy to do that as well. This is just to try something a little bit different and break it up. So we'll leave it there. Thank you again for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.